Hello and welcome to the Mwegas. So it's been quite a while since I posted a video on YouTube, and I thought that I would share something that I've been thinking about for quite a while, and this is the claim that domestic violence in Africa is cultural. It is based on our traditional culture. This is something I want to address because perpetrators of domestic violence will always claim that what they are doing is part of their culture. So they will say ni mila yetu, kupiga bibi ni mila yetu. So that means wife beating is our culture. And I would like to highlight a few things about what I understand about the traditional African culture, and basing that on my culture, which is the Agikuyu community culture. I think it is important that we have a discussion about the claim that domestic violence is a cultural phenomena, or it is based on the African culture, especially in Africa. Now, I want to look at the way the family relationship was in the traditional African community or society. And when I talk about the traditional African community, I mean pre-colonization, I mean pre-Arabs coming to the African coasts. So I mean Africans, like the people of Africa before they got any influence from people from other continents. I do understand that there were a lot of movements precipitated by trade and conquest and all that. But Africa, to a large extent, was still unexplored until when the Arabs came and the missionaries came. So it is pre that interactions between people from these different continents. So that means that the traditional African culture was the culture which was practiced by Africans who were not tainted by people from outside Africa. Of course, there were interactions between the different communities, and that also brought a lot of changes. But that notwithstanding, I want to highlight only a period before outsiders, quote unquote, came into the picture. So number one, there were, or before I even get into it, I want to come out clean and say that one, I am not a historian. Two, I am not a social scientist. Neither am I an anthropologist. So these are my thoughts, which are based upon my interactions and my experience, looking at the way currently the culture is set up, and then trying to project how it would have looked like way back, hundreds and hundreds of years back. Okay, so that out of the way. So number one, there was strong family bonds, right? Families lived together, and that of course built loyalty to family and to the bonds within the family. So that was not limited only to the nuclear family, meaning the father, mother, or father, mothers, and children. It also was the case also with the extended family, because these people would live in uh, roughly the same geographical area, and most probably the same location, the same village. So you'll find a great grandmother, grandmother, and um, the mother, the children, all living in roughly the same space, meaning it is somewhere where you could walk to and back, right? You could walk there, interact, and walk back. So it was somewhere where uh, it was in close proximity. So that, of course, uh, strengthened the bonds. So if that was the case, then how would a son or a brother feel when his sister is being beaten by somebody else? Right now, in this modern community, where the family bond is not as strong as it used to be back then, but still no brother would accept their sister to be violated, right? They will do something about that. And right now they might be limited by the laws, but back then such violations would have precipitated family conflict, and to the extreme war between two families, or feuds where families will hunt each other and kill each other because of that infraction, where somebody is beating somebody's child, somebody's sister. Okay, and it will not only be limited to the brothers and the sisters and the father. It will also encompass also cousins, uncles, because they lived in close proximity and they were very tight, right? So that alone disproves the fact that it was cultural. Families raised their daughters and their sons in such a way that they will not bring shame to the family. Okay, the daughters were expected, when you get married, there were ways in which they were expected to behave. There were more or less a terms of reference or a code of conduct for wives, for husbands, for children, which was drilled into the people, which was cultural. Like so it would be passed from generation to generation. People will be taught this is how wives should behave in their homes, this is how husbands should behave in their homes, this is the expectation of the community unto this union, which is husband and wife. So when something has been given that much attention, then it will be counterproductive when wives are taught, or girls are taught, that it's okay for you to be beaten by your husbands, and then the sons are taught that it is okay to beat your wife and it is okay to defend your sister. So that would have been counterproductive, because that would have accounted for so many wars and loss of lives and livelihoods and a lot of unnecessary conflict. Remember, the traditional setup was filled with conflict already, because the societies were in conflict with wild animals. They were in conflict with neighboring tribes. So it was upon them, it was in their best interest to minimize intra family conflict, because once a daughter is married, that family becomes your family. They are now your in-laws. So intra-family conflict will be minimized so that people can concentrate on the external threats. So that's one. So that beats the logic, and that disproves the claim that domestic violence was a cultural thing. So number two. Now when family lives together and it is extended and becomes big, then it will like the whole village. So it was anchored on clans. So especially for the Kikuyu community, we have 9 clans, which are named after the 9 daughters of Kikuyu and Mumbi. So there was a lot of loyalty and attachment to the clan, because different clans had their own uniqueness. Right? There were those who were healers. There were clans which were for warriors. There were, like different clans had their strengths. That does not mean that the clan of healers did not have warriors, because, they had to protect themselves against external threats, right? Both internal and external threats. So, this loyalty to the clan, remember that bad behavior of an individual will reflect badly on the clan. Let me repeat that. Individual bad behavior will reflect badly on the clan. So for example, if a member of a clan, if an individual of a certain clan was caught stealing, then that will cast a bad reputation on the whole clan. Now they will be called a clan of thieves, because this one individual. So the clan was very, very, very strict in the way members of its clan behaved and interacted amongst themselves and also with other clans. Okay, so now if a son of a clan beat his wife, then that would make the clan a clan of wife beaters. A clan of wife beaters. If a daughter of this clan was disrespectful to her in-laws, then it would be a clan of disrespectful daughters. Remember that marriage was arranged, okay, because it served a practical and a biological need, right? So that's why you see at that time young men and young women were marrying very early, because when they got to the stage where their bodies were changing and they are having all these hormones wreaking havoc in their body, they would most likely have started engaging in sexual activity, and that will have cast a bad light to their family and to the clan if a daughter got pregnant outside marriage. So everything was thought out. Everything was, like they accounted for almost everything. When something happened, it was something which was not anticipated, or because somebody decided to ignore the teachings of the family and the clan. And there were ways in which that would be mitigated. Okay, so now because marriages were arranged, nobody would allow their daughters. Remember what I said in the beginning about the strong family bonds and ties. Nobody would accept to have a daughter be married to a clan of wife beaters, because they knew that their daughter would be miserable. Okay, and marriages were actually organized by women. So when a son got to the age where he has gone through the rite of passage and now he's considered a man, then the aunties or the aunts will be sent out to look for a suitable wife for this son, for their son. And all the people with daughters of marriageable age who are not part of the family, the extended family, so like they did not have any ties to that family, and they had daughters of marriageable age, would also work to find out whose son is of age, which family is looking for wives, and then they would vet that family and that clan. And women knew a lot of what happened in the village and in the community. So if somebody was a wife beater, if a clan was of wife beaters, the women of that clan, of that family, where they have daughters of marriageable age, would know about it, and so they would not accept that marriage to happen. Now, if also women from a certain clan were reputed to be disrespectful to their in-laws, disrespectful to their husband, they were known not to give birth to sons or give birth to a lot of kids, then the aunties of the son who is of marriageable age would avoid those families and those clans. So all the clans and the families had an incentive to be, to be seen in the best of light, because that is the only way that that family name will continue. And remember that it was during marriage when wealth transfer would happen. It was only through marriage or through wars and raids. So if you wanted more cows, if you wanted cows, you either married off a daughter, or you went and attacked a neighboring community and raided their cows and came back with them. So raiding had a lot of risk in terms of loss of lives and also retaliation. But marriage was the one which led to a transfer of wealth, which was a celebration. There were no loss of lives. Everybody enjoyed themselves. And, the family which was giving cattle or whichever wealth which was being transferred would do it willingly. So, because there was also the issue of wealth involved, families had an incentive to, not be wife beaters or not be have girls or wives or women who will not be considered marriageable or good for marriage. So all these things would protect the woman and the man in the marriage in terms of non-violation. Now, I talked about having numerous kids. So having numerous kids was not an option back in the day, because there was high child mortality rate because of childhood diseases. So families had many kids because they were cognizant of the fact that they would lose most of those kids to childhood diseases. So, game of numbers. The more kids you have, when something happens and you lose a lot of kids, you will, when you have many more kids, then some will remain. If you only had few kids, then most of them might, or they might all go, or you might have now to marry another wife, because maybe your first or second or third wife is not in a position to give you the number of kids you want, and that also was why there was polygamy. One of the reasons why there was polygamy. There are plenty of reasons. Anyway, back to what I was talking about. Now, those incentives, those reasons will make it not wise for domestic violence, wife battery, husband battery, or whatever, to be culturally acceptable, because it would work against the best interest of the family and the clan and the community. Third point is that there were hefty fines. If for whatever reason a man beat his wife, for whatever reason, then that will cause the clan to intervene. First of all, the family will be the first one to intervene, because this son is already giving that family a bad reputation. And reputation was everything. A good name was everything in the traditional African setup. So already the family will intervene, right? And they will intervene harshly, because what that son has done is not only affecting him, it is affecting every other person in that family. Second people to intervene will be the clan, because whatever a member, an individual within the clan does, reflects upon them, and so they will intervene and they will institute very heavy fines to this person and to his family, because they will say that the family should have done better, and so that will mean the family has also to be fined and to be penalized for bad behavior of one of them. Now, if the in-laws gets wind, because they will get wind of whatever is happening, because remember, this woman is not married alone. She is in a polygamous marriage in a village of polygamous marriages, and information will travel in the village, and so information will get back to her family. And so now when her family gets wind of what is happening, then they will demand that something be done to assure them that that thing will not happen again, that their daughter will not be beaten again or violated again. So that will mean that they will also expect, they will be paid heftily, or they will penalize the family and the clan heftily. And this is not to like bribe them so that they turn a blind eye. No, remember, wealth, people have attachment to their wealth. And if you lost 50 heads of cattle because somebody raised their hand against somebody's daughter, remember 50 heads of cattle will be enough to get a wife. would be enough to get a wife, right? It will be enough to pay dowry, or also be will go a long way in paying dowry if dowry was more than that. So losing wealth was something which people were very would try to avoid as much as possible, and that's why hefty fines were instituted to people who went against the norm or the directives of the clan. So that was also another incentive of not to do, to raise a finger or to mistreat a spouse. So let me finish by repeating that I'm not an anthropologist, I am not a historian, neither am I a social scientist. So what I'm saying is my opinion based on my observation and also based on my interaction with some older people, and also a bit of light reading here and there about African culture, and also just joining the dots. So if you disagree, if you have a disagreement, if you have something to add, if you think there is something which I postulated or I claimed which was not the case, then please share in the comments. Let's have this discussion.